A big topic in the last few weeks, obviously, was all the people who got laid off, fired, and it happened in a way where it's completely out of nowhere, or they've been refreshing an email for weeks, days, because they knew this was going around and the rumours have gotten out there and they've heard other people in other waves have been fired and am I going to survive this one? And one of the weird things about the way this was framed when people came to post online, mainly to their support group and their peers, etc., is the sort of things people chose to tunnel in on out of this overall equation. Like, to put it this way, the joke is, it's like that old Norm Macdonald joke, right? Essentially, if someone said, well, you know, the worst thing about the way I was fired, of course, is I wasn't even told in a polite way to my face, and it happened at 2 a.m, like the Norm Macdonald joke would be. I think the worst thing would be that you were fired, or that you were laid off. You know, surely that other thing's a side issue. Right? You're sort of arguing about almost like, you know, organising deck chairs on the Titanic at that point in time. So basically, this topic is always a classic one whenever it happens to post online about. Like, I would say it's actually a classic way to get a lot of sympathy for yourself and to sort of draw out people's emotion is to post on Twitter. Like, I wasn't just like let go or fired, but like the way it was done. And I have to say, you will get a lot of response that you want in this way. The feedback will be what you want, because there's a lot of people out there who love to feel righteously indignant, especially on behalf of a friend of theirs or someone that they like, or someone maybe that they think shouldn't be fired or does an excellent job. The problem is this, and this is the core issue here. The real thing you're upset about is that you were fired, that you laid off from your job. That's what you're mad about. The rest of it's just a reason to distract people and say, this is the main thing over here. Like, at the end of the day, it's actually not the way it was communicated to you or the timing. That's actually the major issue in terms of what could actually have been changed. Because let's be real, let's talk about what's important here. There's a massive emphasis being placed on how you are fired. Like, but it was via an email, or it was like late at night, or it was 2 a.m, or it was like on a day off or something. Like, whoa. Right, rewind. Let's imagine they didn't fire you via email. They called you into their office on, let's say, Monday, 10 a.m, you know, not in the middle of the night, nothing like that. They invite you in, they explain to you, like, because the other thing is, my hand wasn't held, I wasn't like sort of told nice things on the way out, right? Let's say they bring you in, they do all that, they bring you in person, they explain every single reason why, they're very, very polite, and at the end of it all, they go, but you are laid off, and so here's what's going to happen from here on, and right, that's the end of our meeting, so you can please leave. Would that really be okay? Wouldn't you be just as mad that you don't have your job anymore? And really, it's the fact that this timing of waves of layoffs come when you've got plans for the future, or you thought you were working there, or maybe you were even good at your job. That's what you're really mad about, isn't it? It's not really like the way it was done. That's just sort of like, well, yeah, that's like the least offensive part of that is the way it's actually handled, which is the bigger issue. Let's be real. You still wouldn't like it because you were fired, and you'll blame the company anyway because they've laid you off, and you think you should have a job there, or you think you were good at your job, or you don't think you deserve to be fired. It doesn't really matter if they'd brought you in person, they held your hand, and they said, and they didn't even told you the real reasons. By the way, if they tell you those real reasons, maybe you'll then leak those reasons, and now they'll get all shit from the community, you know, the people. Like, what do they gain from that in that scenario? Being nice to you, you're just as mad anyway, probably, right? What would it really gain to tell you? Then, let's be real, it's very rarely the people actually are your boss that made this decision to fire you. This sort of a thing, where it comes from the top, is like they're just told to call a load of people, and there are divisions way above yours will have made a job. This much has to go off the budget, this many people have to be fired. Maybe your boss got like a little bit of choice, like a Sophie's choice. He could choose which person in his department went, but at the end of the day, you had to remove someone anyway. You're again acting like your boss is actually going to tell you, well, here's the thing, it was actually your work and the way that you were doing it, and I'm going to explain why and how it could be better for next time, and I'm really sorry this had to happen, and, you know, let me really hold your hand. Are your feelings good? Right, you still don't have the money and you're still laid off, and you want, well, how would that really even matter at that point in time, right? Because sometimes, by definition, these people can't tell you why you were fired. They can't plan, I could plan out like in 2 weeks, like you could come in for a meeting. No, they just told, like, right, you have to cut a bunch of people in this next week or in this next 2 weeks. They can't communicate to you in advance. Them communicating to you now is when they can now communicate, because they've decided you're the one that gets removed. Like, should they just go and do this whole thing where they tell you 2 weeks in advance, you know, there's going to be a bunch of people laid off. It might be you, it might not be, but wait 2 weeks. Well, then even then you'd go, well, then they kept me waiting for 2 weeks. Like, you can't win if you're the company in this scenario. If they did warn you as well, by the way, I tell you what, a bunch of employees would just fuck them over and just go and leak it all to the press and then cause more fanfare and go and say all sorts of reasons why, etc. Like, they couldn't be trusted. They're leaving the company. Are they really going to have good faith towards the company at that point in time? I think a lot of people wouldn't. And then, let's just say this, at the end of the day, they're doing what's best for them. But wait a minute, wouldn't you do what's best for you? Like, if you get an awesome offer, Do you go, well, I'll put in my notice. Oh, wait, that wouldn't be right, though. I can't send an email. Right, I'll have to arrange a big sit down with my boss and tell him, look, in 6 months I might leave. Here's the reasons why. Here's what it is about this job that isn't as good as the other job, or what you could change to keep something. You wouldn't do any of that. You just go, you know what, what's the terms of my contract? Right? 2 weeks notice. You'd let your boss know via an email. Maybe you meet up. Oh, by the way, here's what I'm doing, the job at the end of the day, I'm leaving to the job anyway. You know, good luck with your life, good luck with mine. Isn't that kind of what we're doing at this point in time? So my issue basically is this. If we come back to it all, I understand completely why someone would be upset about being laid off, why if they think they're good at their job, they think it's unfair. Maybe they had plans for the future, maybe they've got their rent paid, or they're locked into a mortgage or a fucking lease or something. It's all going to be really hard for them in their life. Maybe they've gone through all the stress of weeks of waiting, refreshing. I get all of that. But basically, this is just emotion overriding reason. The real reason you're upset is because you got laid off your job, understandably. You're kind of tunnelling on the other part, and that's really kind of not really the biggest deal, is it?